Well, welcome back. We've been joined in studio for our next segment, the health segment, by our favorite, Dr. Kelvin Owusu. Yes, he is the head of occupational health and wellness at Claron International, Health International. And he's going to help us to get into a conversation that's very important. It's something that we would, a lot of people would shy away from on a public forum like this, but I think it's important for us to pull all the stops and get into some of these conversations that are a little more challenging to have. Personal hygiene and pubic hair. Dr. Kelvin, what do we need to know?
This your intro has been put pressure on me.
Well, when you mention pubic with like 4 C's at the end, why?
But yeah, I mean, it's that thing that almost every adult has. I mean, I say almost because there are some people with a peculiar challenge and they don't have any hair at all. You know, so almost every adult has. In fact, it's one of the signs it's one of the secondary sexual characteristics. So if at some point in your life you don't have it, you know, it can be a source of distress. You know, so yeah, everybody does have it, but not everybody knows what to do with it. You know, because as a doctor, I mean, I have seen my fair share of. I've had my fair share of experiences with people's pubic areas. I mean, I remember one classic situation where I had to do a pap smear, and yes, we Prima is already doing some things.
You have to wade through the forest.
I couldn't find my way.
I have to weed your way through.
You know, and when eventually I did find my way. Now you could hear the wish, Ajay, you know, because you had to be pushing through.
The doctor's life matter.
I know, right?
You know, and the aroma was interesting. You know,
Wow.
so obviously this should tell you how the conversation is going to go.
Yeah, but doctor, you know, with personal hygiene and
Yes.
pubic hair stuff, you know, these things are learned in primary school. They are learned in, you know, JHS. In my time, it was like life skills.
Life skills,
you know?
yes.
So you
Hopefully
study
learned at home as well.
Yeah. So why is it difficult for people to, you know, especially when you know you can't keep it, you know, why do they leave it to grow?
You know, in fact, as I was reading around the subject, I mean, there's actually been some work done, and it seems as if, yes, even though at home they tell you about it, in school they tell you about it, social media is also contributing to how people, you know, keep themselves in terms of personal hygiene, you know, because typical example, when you watch basketball games and the guys, and if even the WNBA as well, you know, they have their bush over there. It's like it kind of adds to the swag, you know. Oh yeah, bush over here, you know. And because we don't see what's happening down there, the assumption is that once there's a bush here, it means that there must be a bush down there. You know, as Obrafo said, you are high. You know, and so yes, it creates a perception that you have to keep hair, you know, to be a man or to be a woman for that matter, and also people have had negative experiences when they try to either shave or apply any of those personal care agents, right? And so they make a decision. I'm going to just leave it au naturel. So they just leave it like that. So there are several reasons why people would choose to maintain either a bush or a clearing. It's really up to you. But as you said, there's a right way to do it, and there's a wrong way to do it. Unfortunately, many people go about it the wrong way, and they end up at my facility, and I have to do all sorts of things. Endure.
What is the worst case scenario that that maybe you've seen or others have seen, you know, if you don't keep yourself well in your private area?
Well, I mean, I think the biggest issue is odor.
Yeah.
You see, you have to understand that hair pubic hair plays a very, very important role. I'm sure we'll talk about it, you know, but if you don't treat it well, hair also traps a lot of things. In fact, one of the roles, let me just dive into it. One of the roles of pubic hair is actually to trap dirt and bacteria, you know, so that it helps prevent infections, right? But that also is its own undoing, because if it's trapping dirt and it's trapping bacteria, and remember that you're also sweating in that area.
Yeah.
And generally speaking, odor or body odor is a function of bacteria acting on your sweat.
Yes.
Sweat naturally doesn't have a sense. I mean,
Yeah.
it's water.
Yeah.
You know, so it is the action of bacteria on the sweat that now causes body odor. So now you have a place which is already conducive for bacteria to grow.
Yeah.
And then you have a system or a facility that's already catching the bacteria and say, you stay here. You know, me and you, we are going to have a conversation. Then the sweat comes in to nourish the whole mixture.
Environment.
You know, so the bacteria is already happy being there. Even though the pubic hair is trapping it in quotes, the bacteria is happy. So when the sweat comes in, it begins to act on it. So odor, you know, odor is the biggest challenge that you are going to experience if you keep a lot of hair. You know, so you are going to have to compensate for that by bathing more frequently, because once you leave it there, the bacteria is going to act on it, the odor is going to come, you know, begin to become obvious. So you have to compensate for that by bathing more frequently, you know. And as I did mention, you see the pap smear requires you to insert a gadget into the vagina. Now every time I mention vagina, I have to add this, that when a medical doctor, in fact, generally the vagina is the opening, the canal. That's the vagina, not the outside.
Okay.
You know, I always have to distinguish, because people confuse what the vagina is. So it requires you to actually put something in there to see the cervix, right? Now, if your hair is too long, it can get pulled along, and that can make it very, very uncomfortable. In that same regard, if your hair is too long and you are engaging in a sexual act, it can again be pulled along, and that can be very uncomfortable, can be painful as well. So that's another thing for keeping long hair. Of course, a second role that pubic hair plays is to reduce friction between sexual partners, you know. So because the skin of the pubic area is very, very sensitive, you know, very, very, very sensitive. So if it was just plain, you know, and then there was contact and there was friction, it can easily become bruised. You know, so the hair serves as a cushion to prevent that direct contact and prevent the friction bruises.
So Doc, does that mean that ideally you should have a bit of hair?
Yes. I mean, ideally everybody should have a bit of hair.
Okay, so it shouldn't be like a clean shave?
We never recommend a clean shave. In fact, one of the big X's, the big nose, is a clean shave. We do not encourage clean shave, whether it is in the armpit or in the groin. We don't want a clean shave.
What's wrong with it?
Especially if you are a black man or black woman.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
Yes. Now, razor bumps.
Yes.
Razor bumps are real, and it happens anywhere a razor will touch.
Yes.
Right. Now, the reason why I'm saying that, especially if you're a black person, is because naturally our hair it curls in, you know, naturally. Yeah. So if you shave your beard and the hair starts growing, it comes in a curved manner.
So it goes
now
back
exactly
to give you the bumps.
So that curved hair, sometimes the curve happens before it breaks through the skin. In fact, most times it happens before it breaks the thing, but it's often able to come out anyway. Sometimes it doesn't come out enough, and so the hair, it sort of goes back into the skin, into the pore. What happens is that then this same annoying bacteria, you have to understand that the bacteria is on your skin. You are interacting with bacteria every day. They are present as we are speaking. They are on the skin. They are in your mouth. They are everywhere, you know. And so once they find a channel into the skin, they are going to use it, you know. And that is what leads to razor bumps. So the hair it causes a bump as it's coming out, and if there is that break, then the bacteria now tracks into the skin, and then they form the abscess or the boil, you know. So razor bumps are technically speaking boils. They are small boils that grow along the area where the razor has touched, you know. So if you cut the hair too close to the skin, and especially if there's a spike there, it's going to kill, and that's resulting in razor bumps. Now remember that already we have stated that the area of the pubic area is already conducive. You know, there's heat, there's moisture, which is sweat, you know, so it's already conducive. So if you allow that to happen, it is going to cause a lot of discomfort, a lot of itching, a lot of little bumps and boils, you know, which is already in an area that was, even without those things, it's already a sensitive area. So imagine now having all those problems in that area, you know. So with that's why we don't encourage a clean shave. However, I mean, people are suggesting, or there is this argument about waxing and using what's that called, the hair removal cream. Again, let me start with the hair removal creams. Let me put it that way, because remember that it's killing the hair cell. It's literally dissolving the hair cells. You know, which means there are strong chemicals in there. You can actually use, and I have had a personal experience with this one. You can use a hair removal cream and actually leave a scar.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yes, it will actually leave a scar. So imagine putting that hair removal cream in an area that's, again, very sensitive, and an area where there is heat and moisture. It can cause a lot more damage than just a scar. So you don't want to just put any chemicals in that area at all. And when it comes to waxing, if you have the pain threshold to withstand waxing, I mean, by all means, be my guest. You will have a few weeks of no problem. But remember that the hair will still grow eventually, and so the bumps will still occur, because once the hair starts growing, it will kill. You cannot straighten, you cannot perm hair that hasn't come out yet.
So should we be using like scissors, not shaving sticks, razors?
Yes. So the teaching is that you actually should use scissors. So you should cut. You should go as only to the level where the scissors can actually reach without cutting your skin. That's the lowest you should go. So there should always be a film of hair. You see, because by the time, of course, you use a normal size. You don't go and use a baby scissors, which will then cut lower, because you know.
Or the seamstress scissors.
No, that's too big. So use
cutting material.
A normal barber scissors, and then cut as low as the scissors will allow you to cut. So that there's always that thin film of hair over there, because, like I said, it's serving a purpose. They're reducing friction, it's trapping dirt, it's preventing infection. So if you remove it completely, you're actually taking away all those beneficial effects of pubic hair.
And how do we take care of pubic hair in your arm with scissors?
The same thing. The way you treat your pubic hair is the same way you treat your armpit hair.
So, for instance, I can't use my right hand. I use my left. I'm left. So I can't hold the scissors. I can't cut with my right hand.
In that case, there's an alternative. You can also use clippers. You can.
Oh, okay.
Yes, you can use clippers. You just don't set it to the skin. What they call the 0 grade. You can set it to 1 or 2, and you're fine. But you see, of course, when it comes to the armpit hair, there's also the cultural aspect, because imagine the lady, and you are going for a dinner. You're wearing a sleeveless top, and then you have
my G, why?
But that's why you can devise the hello.
No, but okay. So, Doc, for instance, the armpit, can be exposed to air more than your groin area.
Yes.
So, can you not, for the purposes of air, and especially the fact that when you shave to the skin in your armpit, you can wear your sleeveless. That's not as bad as you can't walk around with your.
Besides, you can also use a deodorant.
Are you asking me this question as a doctor or as a fashion advisor? Because
as both.
I can only.
No, as both. Because what I'm saying is, if you shave, for your armpit, it can be exposed easily, to air, to fresh air.
Prima is fighting for all the women.
No, you see.
But as a doctor, you should always leave a film of hair.
Listen.
If
I go beyond my doctor, I'll be.
Doctor, leave a film of hair there. Now, awards now say your, Bastille and all that. And come on.
Doc.
Yes, sir.
I have been using a hair remover
for where?
Since I was 18.
For your hair.
Since I was 18.
For your hair.
For your hair, no.
For
beard. Okay.
I've been using hair remover cream.
Okay.
Since I was 18, right? That's over 30 years ago, right? So far, so good.
So, you found one that worked for you from scratch. So, you're good. But having said that, I don't know the frequency, the interval between the shaves.
Are you very hairy? That's what Dr.
I'm very hairy. So, so I'm a bit of a sticker for rules, right? So when I started initially, there was an instruction. It says that not more frequently than every 36 hours. Don't do it more frequently than that. So if I do it this morning, it will be tomorrow no, the day after, tomorrow, in the evening.
Okay.
So that's
like
actually the point I was trying to make. So that means that you are not allowing the hair to actually grow before you do it again.
No.
Yeah.
Which is probably why you are not having any of the bump effects.
Okay.
You know. And then secondly, I don't know how clean a shave you are giving yourself, because I mean the fact that you're using
hold on. I have a question here.
Okay.
So are you trying to say that? Why are you smiling? Are you trying to say that? No. Every 48 hours you are shaving down below. No, is that it?
So here's the thing. Now, I shave here every 48 hours.
Then you put more there.
Okay. Every 2-3 weeks, I would do the one in my armpit.
Okay.
Then every month or every 2 months, then I would do the one down here too.
Okay.
That's the way. That's
No,
the
so the
rhythm.
timetable
That's
works.
the
I get
rhythm
it.
and the
Okay,
rhyme,
I get it.
You see, but so as I was saying, I mean, you've obviously found a cream that works for you, so no scalding effect and no.
No, but you see, it was also a bit of trial and error at the point, you know, and then you realize that if you leave it for too long, so they also tell you 3 to 4 minutes max that you leave it on. If you leave it beyond that, you will have you will wash your face. And then you see that the skin
is
peeled.
peeling off, yes.
You see, so you try all those things. This is strong, you know.
It is.
So
it is. So I mean, you also have to always remember that everybody responds differently to the same item. So much as I was talking about the razor bumps, and in the past, even when we used to go to barbers and they used proper blade to do your shaping and all sorts of things, some people would get razor bumps, others would not get razor bumps. You see. So but if you look at the statistics, most of us black people will have a more of an issue with razor bumps than the Caucasians, because their hair tends to come out straight. So there's no curving or curling or no corner things. You see. So if you do the clean shave, and also let me just, before I forget, when you do a clean shave, the probability that you are going to end up, especially if you're using a razor, you are going to end up with cuts on your skin is very, very high. And once you have cuts on your skin, your risk of catching an STI is even higher. You see. And so we don't. So that's the second reason why we don't encourage a clean shave, especially in the pubic areas. So that those small cuts can be an avenue for bacteria to enter. Can be an avenue, and you know some of these bacteria are carrying sexually transmitted infections as well. So we don't want a clean shave down there for these same reasons. However, if you are doing the waxing or you're using the creams, you can go for it, because then now and there's no risk of cuts. However, it does not remove the bumps that can occur following the hair breaking through the skin, you know. So to avoid all these inconveniences, just keep a thin layer of hair and everybody will be happy.
Talk to us about the shaving and keloids.
Do they have any link?
Yes, there's a link. I mean, again, for us black people, we are predisposed to keloids, generally speaking. And that's why, for instance, those of you who have had chickenpox, myself included, if all the scars may disappear, but you find a few that will still be there. They might even be bigger than what the original thing was. You know, so that's actually a keloid. A keloid is a scar that, first of all, has lasted longer than 6 months and has gone beyond the boundaries of the original injury. You know, so you can actually have a keloid anywhere in your body. Typically, it occurs above the chest. You know, so from the breast up to the top of your head, you can get keloids typically, but atypically it can occur any part of the body. I mean, I know people with keloids on their legs, on their torso, etc. So yes, if you shave and you cut yourself, it can develop into a keloid. It is a reality. Some people, unfortunately, they go to the barber, they get their hair lined, and then develops a keloid. So you find some people with keloids on their scalp. You know, very uncomfortable situation, but it is what it is. And keloids tend to be difficult to treat because the treatment requires you to cut and try and remove it. But remember that it is the same action. The healing process can still result in a keloid. So it's a 50-50, whether it works or it doesn't work. I mean, you know, there are injections that can be given, but the injection itself tends to be really, really painful. And the effectiveness is, again, you know, something like that. So it's a challenge.
So you're better off, you know, not just cutting to skin.
That's all. So that's why I mean, scissors is the best. If you can, if you or clippers. If you have clippers, you can set it to the number 1 or number 2, and then just leave a film. So the key is leave a film. That's all. If you can afford the waxing, and when I say afford, I'm talking about in terms of your pocket and in terms of your pain threshold, because it is very, very. I mean, I don't know how many varies I should use.
No, I mean, waxing is very, very painful, especially even if you are doing a small eyebrow one, you know, it's extremely painful.
I know some people who swear by waxing. It's like
no, but you know,
it's like they will just take.
But you know, certain people also enjoy pain.
Yes,
you know that certain people
Yeah.
kind of get used to pain, so they get a certain high from pain. You know, so I mean, if you can deal with it, like Doctor has said, but I think that the easiest and convenient way would be the clippers, honestly.
Yeah. I think
Because
so. From the way he's describing, I mean, clippers is a nice, smooth movement. Doesn't take long.
And it'll be
But it
faster.
doesn't mean that you can't enjoy yourself with the clippers. Especially, you see, again, there are a lot of creases and corners in this area.
Yeah.
I mean, especially for the male. You see, now if you are
Or
trying
for females as well, you know, various chambers and all.
that's
you know.
true.
You see, but
That's also true.
that's true. Right? You see,
Yeah.
But you
the
can
male-
stretch the male, you can stretch
But
it.
you see, here's the thing. So you are stretching the thing, and then one side folds over the clipper, and then you do.
The whole to
Carry the whole-
apart from that.
So yes, I mean, and I've actually witnessed this. So I mean, when
You've actually witnessed that.
oh yes, I mean, I had we had to actually take to theater and close up the place. It was that bad. I don't know what he was thinking or where he wanted to go or how clean he wanted to shave. You know, so between the thigh and where the scrotum begins, he was trying to do some kamikaze moves there, and then master,
he took
the
off
thing-
more than necessary.
the thing developed a mind of its own.
Wow, that would be terrible.
Yeah. Of course, the women as well. I mean, when you get to where the vulva, the labia area, it can get a bit tricky. So you need to be careful, even with the clippers. So so avoid a close shave. I think that's the best advice.
It's the moral of
you
the
know.
story.
Well,
I mean, I think that one of my experiences has been that I've never been able to grow hair on this part of my face because even without shaving, the hair naturally if I leave my hair to start growing, maximum 2 weeks, I'll start developing bumps.
So that's the point I was making earlier. You see, and then having said that,
So that's why I've never grown it.
So it comes back
to the same
you
thing
have
that
to
you
then
said.
make it a
Because the hair is
point to
curly.
constantly have a clean shave.
and let me also point out that one of the reasons why we tend to develop razor bumps is because of touching of the face. So when you shave and you yourself touch your face, or people come and touch your face,
Yeah.
Your
you are
face is
pushing.
smoother.
Yes, avoid touching your face as much as possible for the first 3-4 days of a shave, because that would definitely increase the chance of developing a razor bump.
I like to splash alcohol on my face when I'm done shaving, but it is painful.
But of
So
course.
that confirms that there are cuts there. So even so, it doesn't matter what system you are using. As for the cuts, they will be there.
Anyway, well, thank you very much, Dr. Kelvin. How do people get in touch with you? They want to know more?
Yeah, well, I'm active on social media, Kelvin Uzu MD, so you can find me there, and also our clinic and platform as well, Claron Health International, on all social media channels.
All right.
Doc,
Fantastic.
thank you very much for taking us back to school.
No, I mean, honestly, we could have gone further to talk about pubic lice and
Yes,
all
yes,
those
yes.
things, you know.
Oh, yeah,
But
yeah.
maybe another day.
And the
we'll enter
discoloration,
into-
you know,
into this.
then you begin to get like white.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Dr. Kelvin, thank you. We'll be having breakfast very soon. Thank you very much. This is Breakfast Daily. We'll be right back.